gentlemen, please rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We'll do a roll call. Say your name, Mr. Galanti. Ronald Mills.
Abraham Galowski.
Derek Benavides.
Frank Orozco.
Erica, we have a quorum. We can begin. Francisca.
Notice of a public meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Brownsville pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code. The Texas Open Meeting Act notice is hereby given that the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, has scheduled a regular meeting on Monday, July 8th, 2019, at 5:30 p.m. in the Commission chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Old Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, 78520. 1, approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on April 4th, 2019.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. Second.
I have a motion for Frank, second for Mr. Galante. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2, approval of the minutes for the regular meeting on May 2nd, 2019.
I so move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Galante,
I'll second.
second by Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Public hearings, item number 3, public hearing in action, Canyon Valley Subdivision replat, amending plat.
Good evening.
Good evening. Not working? There we go.
Okay. This amending plat is located off Old Port Isabel Road. It's 5.17 acres and 25 commercial lots. We do find it complete. That is the wrong view. Excuse me. It's this one.
All right.
Motion to file complete.
Have a motion to find complete
I'll second.
and a second by Mr. Galante. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4, public hearing in action, and Naranjal Subdivision, section
9.
9, final plat.
This is the 9th section of the subdivision. It's located near Mars Avenue. It's 7.725 acres. Will consist of 42 residential lots. We do find it incomplete. It's missing the items on the screen.
Motion to find incomplete.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to find incomplete. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 5, public hearing in action, Peralta Subdivision Plan Development.
This is a planned development. It will be located near Southmost Boulevard. It's 4.83 acres. A total of 28 lots are currently proposed. It's a mix of commercial, duplex, and townhouse lots. We do find it incomplete. It's missing items on the screen.
Motion to find incomplete.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 6, public hearing in action, Paseo Residencial Subdivision Master Plan.
This is located near Robindale Road. It's 88.62 acres. Will be 327 residential lots. We do find it incomplete. It's missing the items on the screen.
Motion to find incomplete.
Second.
A motion and a second to find incomplete. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 7, public hearing in action on ordinance number 2019-235.91 and ordinance amending existing boundaries within the 031 non-residential overlay district and dealing with related matters.
This is a city-initiated case to amend the boundaries. We're asking to remove the 031 from this area. The 031 is a non-residential overlay district. The area has various zonings. We do have a zoning map we'll show you. And it's bordered by Boca Chica, Old Port Isabel, Robin Hood, and Kings Highway. As a reminder, the 031 non-residential overlay prohibits dwelling units, group quarters, recreational vehicle parks, medical inpatient facilities, schools, churches, daycares, medical clinics, auditoriums, and stadiums. Here's the area we're looking at. This is part of the Town Corridor and Central Core District in our future land use plan. The Town Corridor is primarily residential with small clusters of commercial land uses at regularly spaced intervals, and the residential uses should have a density of 3 dwelling units an acre and primarily single-family dwellings. The Central Core District commercial uses should be neighborhood and service oriented with some light industrial that is compatible with close proximity to residences. And the residential uses should be primarily single family with an average density of 3 dwelling units an acre. So here is the aerial. So as a point of reference, right here is the Walmart. So this entire area marked in red currently has this overlay. So there were 120 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this proposed amendment to the existing 031 non-residential overlay boundaries.
So basically, all those empty fields behind Walmart would be
Yeah.
allowed to be built on finally, is what this comes down to.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Anybody have any questions or comments on this particular case?
Motion to close public hearing?
Have a motion and a second from Mr. G to close. All in favor?
Aye.
Action.
Real quick, Francisco.
Yes.
The individual lots, are they, because of the overlay, are they not zoned residential currently, or do they fall into some type of, I don't know, light industrial or something like that?
They're zoned light retail. This-
Okay, so most of those people, if they wanted to build a
Would have already
dwelling
done
on it,
so,
they might, well, know if they're already in.
So this wouldn't change their use district or their area district. So it's light retail F, this whole area right here. So if they wanted to have apartments and they wanted to have a higher density than 8.5 units an acre, they would have to rezone, at which time all of the neighbors will be notified
Right.
Yeah.
and they'd come back here.
Okay.
But it can be rezoned to
Yes.
the special use.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Uh-huh.
correct.
This is removing a barrier.
Okay. Perfect. Action.
Make a motion to approve?
Have a motion from Frank, second from Mr. G. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 8, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-015S to allow an apartment use in general retail H for the rear 39 feet of Lot 14, Block 58, original town site of the City of Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, located at 409 East 13th Street, Brownsville, Texas, 78520.
This property is 1.02 acres. It's currently zoned light retail A, 2CA, and they're requesting it to rezone to general retail G, 4CG.
I think she called out number 8, and it talks about allowing an apartment. I
Oh,
think it's a
excuse
different.
me. That one is removed from the agenda.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. Number 9, Erica.
Item number 9, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-026 to rezone from light retail G to general retail G for Lot 1, Block 1, Aaron's Addition, Cameron County, Texas, located at 2635 Boca Chica Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
Okay, this property is 1.02 of an acres. It's currently zoned light retail A, 2CA, and they're requesting to rezone to general retail G, 4CG. It's near the intersection of OPI, Old Port Isabel, and Boca Chica, off Renfro. So excuse me, I got it backwards. This one is at the intersection of Old Port Isabel and Boca Chica. So there's currently the Bank of America there. Okay. So here is the zoning map. The property currently has a specific use permit for the purpose of the bank. At this time, they're looking to expand their parking lot. The next case is for the expansion of the parking lot. So because there's been some rezonings in the area, and there is general retail on this side of Boca Chica, this side of Boca Chica, and some over there, as well as some light industrial along Boca Chica. They are, instead of getting another specific use permit, they are requesting to rezone to general retail.
Where would that expansion,
Toward the errands behind it or something, or
It's
what?
for right here,
Oh, okay.
which they don't look like they intersect too much, but they do have enough connection there.
Okay.
right behind that smoke shop?
Mhm.
Got it. And it's zoned currently,
It's currently zoned light retail 2C with a specific use permit for general retail.
And what's there right now?
The bank.
A bank, Bank of America.
You're gonna leave it a
But
bank.
on that lot that they're looking at rezoning?
That's the next case.
Oh, okay, I got you.
We're gonna give them permission
Got it,
first.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, continue, Francesca.
This is in the town corridor in our future land use map, which is primarily residential with small clusters of commercial land uses at regularly spaced intervals. Here's the aerial where you can see the Bank of America there. So to the north, there are commercial businesses and single-family dwelling. To the east, restaurant and commercial plazas. To the south, single-family dwelling, civic institutions, and commercial business. And to the west, there are single-family dwelling and commercial business. Here's what it looks like. Here's the 200-foot radius map. There were 22 mailouts and 0 written opposition. So staff supports this rezoning from light retail G, 2CG, to general retail G, 4CG.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Anybody any questions or comments?
Make a motion to close public comment?
Second,
We have a motion and a second to close comment. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Action?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion from Frank and a second from Mr. G. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 10, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2019-027 to rezone from dwelling A to general retail G for 0.42 acres out of Lot 13, Block 1, Renfro Terrace addition of Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, located near Renfro Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas 78521.
So this is the parking lot. It's 0.42 acres. It's currently zoned dwelling A. They're requesting to rezone to general retail G, 4CG. Here's the zoning map. To the north of the property, it is zoned dwelling with a specific use permit for apartments. To the south, along Boca Chica, there is general retail, 4th commercial, as well as light industrial, 7th commercial. This is also part of the town corridor in our future land use plan, which is primarily residential with small clusters of commercial land uses at regularly spaced intervals. Here's the property. There are single-family dwelling and apartments to the north. To the east, restaurants, commercial businesses. To the south, single-family dwelling, civic institution, and commercial businesses. And to the west, single-family dwelling and commercial business. Here's what it looked like. I think it's vacant now. Let's Google. Here's the 200-foot radius map. There were 20 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this rezoning from dwelling A, DA, to general retail G, 4CG, with a conditional overlay to require the following on the north property line: a 6-foot or taller screening fence, and a 5-foot or larger vegetation buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Any questions or comments?
I move close public hearing.
Have a motion to close?
Second,
Have a second. All in favor?
aye.
Action.
Do we have any concerns about the fact that the parking lot's gonna exit out to Renfro?
We did verify that with the engineering department and the traffic department, and they are fine. They actually think it might help alleviate some traffic.
But I think it will alleviate,
Yeah,
because it'll be better now.
Now everybody's stuck going in
It
there.
was very,
Yeah, it was an initial concern, so we did ask the experts and got their opinion
it'll
on that.
alleviate it better now.
Action.
Motion to approve?
Have a motion and a second from Derek and Mr. G. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 11, Eric.
Item number 11, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2019-028 to rezone from dwelling A to dwelling G for Lot 19, Block 1, West Banker Place Addition, Cameron County, Texas, located at 305 Boca Chica Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas 78520.
This property is 0.1607 of an acre. It's currently zoned dwelling A, DA, and they're requesting to change it to DG, dwelling G, with the proposed use of a duplex. This is located at the intersection of Hawthorne Avenue and Boca Chica. Here's the zoning map. Along Boca Chica, there are some commercial uses as well as apartment. North in this neighborhood, it's mostly dwelling with some apartment use as well as general retail over at the intersection of Honeydale and Hawthorne. Across along Boca Chica, there is some apartments as well as light retail specific use. This is part of the Loop Corridor in our future land use plan. The Loop Corridor is a healthy mixture of residential, institutional, industrial, and community facility land uses. There's also a high degree of flexibility allowed in the land use types, especially for commercial and residential uses. The residential uses should have a density of 4 dwelling units an acre and primarily consist of single-family dwelling and attached apartment houses. Here's the aerial. In all directions, there are single-family dwelling. Also to the east, there's some commercial businesses. So this land has actually been cleared. There's no longer a home there. It's vacant. But this is what it looks like from Hawthorne, from the intersection of Hawthorne and Boca Chica, and from Boca Chica. Here's the 200-foot radius for the mailouts. There were 23 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this rezoning from dwelling A, DA to dwelling G, DG with the conditional overlay requiring the following. The property will be limited to 1 driveway off East Hawthorne Avenue. The property will not have a driveway off Boca Chica Boulevard, and the property will have single-family residential character. We have met with the owner about this, and they're in agreement with it.
Okay,
I so move to close the public
we
hearing.
haven't opened it yet, hang on.
Hold on.
All right, anybody here for this?
Single-family residential character, but yet will be used as a duplex.
Yes, so it won't be, when you think of a duplex, you might think of 2 garages and 2 main doors. When we say single-family residential character, we're meaning it'll have the appearance of a single-family home,
Right.
not a 2-family home.
I understand.
So there will be side access for the secondary unit.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public
So
hearing.
what is the point of putting that in, to make it look as a single-family home, is you know that it's going to be a double family.
Well, I think it
We
makes
can
the
have-
aesthetic of the community remain the same,
Yeah.
so.
The aesthetic of that community over there is a mixture of everything from Boca Chica.
So along Hawthorne, much of it is single-family, and it has been redeveloping. We just want to support the neighborhood and
Sure.
keep the consistency of a single-family appearing structure.
That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Anybody any questions or comments on this property? Now you can make a question.
Motion to close public comment?
All right, now a
Mr. G.
motion to move.
Mr. G seconds.
Mr. G seconds. All in favor? Action.
I'll make a motion to approve, subject to staff's recommendation.
With the conditional overlay. We have
With
a
the conditional
motion to approve with the conditional overlay. Mr. G, you agree? That's your second, Mr. G?
Yes.
Yeah. Was a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 12, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019, 029, to rezone from medium retail A to general retail A for Lot 36, Block 1, Silver Oak Subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located at 975 West Ruben Torres Senior Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
So this property is .4161 of an acre. It's currently zoned medium, medium retail A, 3CA, and they're requesting to rezone to general retail A, 4CA. This is along West Ruben M. Torres, near the intersection of Laredo, and they are proposing to have a wet restaurant. So here's the aerial, the zoning. It's this one right here. So it's currently zoned medium retail 3CA, as well as next to it is medium retail 3CA. However, this property was rezoned from medium retail to fourth commercial very recently. This is developed as a commercial area now. The specific use permit that you see there was never used. Instead, we have single-family homes and this low retail use. Across Ruben M. Torres, we have some general retail. And over here on this corner, Very recently, we had it approved for apartment H, so I'm just going to color this in apartment here. Very recently, we haven't updated the map. This is part of the town corridor in our future land use plan. The town corridor is primarily residential with small clusters of commercial land uses at regularly spaced intervals. So here's the aerial. This isn't completely representative. We'll have a better picture in a moment. To the north, there's undeveloped land, civic institution, and apartments. To the east, there's single-family dwelling and commercial business. To the south, there's single-family dwelling, and to the west, commercial business and undeveloped land. So this is more what it looks like. And over here, there's another plaza over here. Here's the 200-foot radius map. There were 24 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this rezoning from medium retail A, 3CA, to general retail A, 4CA.
Why do they need to
They are looking to open a restaurant.
and
which
they don't have restaurants in medium?
They do allow it, however, they're looking to also serve alcohol.
Okay.
So general retail allows a wet restaurant, a restaurant that serves alcohol. It does not allow bars.
Okay.
So a bar would not be able to open in general retail without getting a conditional use permit
Okay.
at this location.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is public hearing. Any questions or comments on this property?
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Action.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion from Derek, second from Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Number
Item
13.
number 13, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-030, to rezone from dwelling A to dwelling G for Lot 35, Block 50, East Brownsville Addition, Cameron County, located at 3475 East 27th Street, Brownsville, Texas 78521.
So this property is .1377 of an acre. It's currently zoned dwelling A, and they're requesting it to be rezoned to dwelling G, DG. The purpose is a duplex, and it's fronting East 27th Street. So here is the zoning map. You can see most of the area is dwelling, but there are also general retail and apartment uses mixed in. And right here is dwelling G. This is part of the East Core District in our future land use plan, which is primarily residential with large amounts of community facilities as well. The residential uses should have an average density of 3 dwelling units an acre and consist of single-family homes. Here's aerial of the neighborhood. So in all directions, you'll find single-family dwellings. Here's the 200-foot radius map. Here's a view.
So the idea is to remove that structure and put a duplex there?
I'm not sure if it's removed.
Okay.
There were 31 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this rezoning from dwelling A, DA, to dwelling G, DG, with the purpose of building a duplex.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Anybody have any questions or comments on this property?
I have a question. If there was a building out there, can you,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
if there is a building on that property, can they build one next to it?
When you
So a duplex needs to be the same structure. So it needs to be one structure
Add
with
it
2
on-
separate
add it
units.
So they wouldn't be able to add a second one next to it. They have to have one structure. Could they
They-
convert that little building into a duplex?
If they could fit it.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
Or they could move it and,
Well, either, no,
Add onto it, yeah,
sure.
or add onto it, yeah.
Are you here for that project, sir?
Yes, he's here for that one. He's the
Please, if you
applicant.
want to come up and address us, please do so. Good, state your name, sir.
Buenas tardes.
Hey.
Pues la idea ahí es mejorar un poquito ahí la zona. Traigo fotos, no sé si las puedo enseñar, de cómo está el área, y lo que hay enfrente y eso.
Could you speak a little louder in the microphone, por favor?
No, hablo inglés.
All right, so we'll translate. No,
Ahora sí iba a pasar bien conmigo, porque le dejaron hablar.
she's translating for him, so we'll let her.
Yeah, that's fine.
No sabe. Perdón.
No, yo, perdón, porque no sabía.
No.
Nothing she said was okay, we're gonna talk in Spanish, it's okay. Hi.
Well, no, I think it's good to translate
Okay.
for the record.
Hi, my name is Jessica Barrientos, I'll be just translating. He wants to make a duplex,
Mhm.
and he has pictures of everything that is just surrounded by that area, which there are other duplexes there, and there are abandoned homes.
I guess the basic question we have, where he doesn't have to go into dissertation, is he wanting to tear down the existing building and build a duplex, or is he going to modify the one that's
Hay
there?
una casa ahí,
No.
tienes que romper.
No.
It's just a lot by itself.
Oh, it's a lot right now,
It's
there's
a
no
lot by
house there.
itself. It's
Okay,
ready
that's
to
fine.
build.
That was the
Uh-huh.
question we had, so. Did
Okay.
anybody else have any questions?
No estamos opuestos a que haga duplex. Nomás preguntamos si hay una casa vieja ahí o algo.
No, está bien.
Está limpio.
No, está bien, no.
It's a-
Perfecto, gracias.
Gracias.
Good luck. Buena suerte.
All right, anybody else?
Motion to close public hearing.
Second?
I have a motion and a second from Mr. G and Derek. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Motion.
to approve?
Second.
I have a motion from Frank and a second from Derek. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 14, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019, 031S, to allow a duplex, a dwelling use in light industrial J for Lot 12, Block 43A, Stillman Addition, Cameron County, Texas, located at 221 West St. Francis Street, Brownsville, Texas, 78520.
This property is .2755 of an acre. It's zone light industrial J, 7CJ, and they're requesting to allow a duplex. And it's at the intersection of West 2nd and West St. Francis. So here is the zoning. As you can see, a lot of this area is a mix of industrial. The brown is light industrial, and the gray to the east, the southeast, is going to be medium industrial. However, on the other side, kitty corner, it is apartment zoning, the green. So this is part of the downtown node in our future land use plan, where commercial land uses are the most dominant, and residential, community facilities, and institutional uses are also present. No industrial land uses should be allowed in the downtown node. The average density of residential land uses should be 21 dwelling units an acre, and represents primarily urban and attached residential forms. So here is the property in question. So to the north, directly to the north, is a two-family dwelling. There's also single-family dwellings and apartments and civic institutions. To the east, there's single-family dwellings. To the south as well. To the west, single-family dwellings, apartments, and commercial businesses. So here is the site plan that they're proposing. This name is incorrect. Second.
Should be second, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
we're getting an updated one.
that's fine. Okay,
Here's the 200-foot radius map. And here's what it looks like. It's vacant. And that is a duplex that you see. There were 35 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports a specific use permit to allow a duplex dwelling use in light industrial J, 7CJ.
ladies and gentlemen, it's a public hearing. Any questions on this property?
I just move to close.
I have a motion to close from Mr. G,
Second.
second from Derek. All in favor?
Aye. How come we're not just redoing the zoning there? Is there any, like, how?
We
We're
don't
allowing
want,
dwelling use in a light industrial, and that's the only lot in between a bunch of homes? Is there a reason to keep the light industrial?
so the area is industrial from back when the railroad was used in the area. Duplexes, the duplex to the north, used to be allowed in commercial categories and not in residential, which is why you'll see them. These commercial categories also will allow the apartments. So they could have a single-family home, they could have multifamily, more than 3 or more units, but they could not have a duplex without a specific use permit.
I guess my question is, why not just go straight to it?
That would be spot on.
I think that's a valid question. I think that what we're going to be doing with some of our zoning initiatives and code rewrite is kind of looking at some of these areas. Should there be more of a consistency along a corridor? You know, historically, what has happened? And so that's probably going to be the initiative that we're going to be embarking on with Reeds and Nichols, with, you know, really seeing, do our corridors allow for everything? You know, what should their main land use be, and what's really the most compatible use with those land uses? So although in this case, you know, we're dealing with what it is now, that's something that the planning department will be looking at in the near future.
That whole area there that was industrial, but now you see trucks cannot go in that many to that area, so people are changing.
Yeah.
You see, it's probably before you could have driving with the 18-wheelers load and unload, and now nothing. So I think it's going to become residential, the whole area.
Yeah.
Action?
Motion to approve?
Second.
A motion and a second from Frank and Mr. G. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 15, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-032, to rezone from general retail F to general retail H for Lot 1 and rear half of Lot 2, Block 158, Brownsville Original Town Site, located at 754 East Van Buren Street, Cameron County, Brownsville, Texas 78521.
So this property is currently zoned General Retail F, 4CF, and they're requesting it to be rezoned to General Retail H, 4CH. For the purpose of offices, this is located at 754 East Van Buren Street, which is pretty close to the courthouses. So here is the zoning map. As you can see, almost all of the area is general retail, fourth commercial, and there is right here some general retail H that was recently zoned this year for a similar purpose. This is part of the town corridor in the downtown node in our future land use plan. The town corridor is primarily residential with small clusters of commercial land uses at regularly spaced intervals. And those residential uses should have a density of 3 dwelling units an acre. The commercial uses are the most dominant in the downtown node, and residential, community facilities, and institutional uses are also present. So here's the aerial of the lot and a half. So to the north, there's going to be single-family dwellings, civic institutions, and professional office. You're also going to find that to the east. To the south and to the west, you're going to find single-family dwelling and multifamily dwelling. Here's the 200-foot radius map. Yeah. Courthouse
Underneath the blue, yeah.
and a parking lot between them. Here's a 200-foot radius map. As you can see, it's vacant. There were 45 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this request from General Retail F, 4CF, to General Retail H, 4CH.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a public hearing. Any questions on this one?
Motion to close public comment?
Second.
Have a motion and a second from Frank and Derek. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There was a motion from Derek, just a second from Mr. G. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 16, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-033S, to allow a restaurant, a light retail use in apartment H and professional office H for lots 1 and 2, block 1, Alvarez subdivision of the city of Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, located at 334 Morningside Road, Brownsville, Texas 78521.
So this property is 0.628 of an acre. It's currently zoned apartment H and professional office H. They are requesting a specific use permit to allow a restaurant, and it's located at 334 Morningside Road. Here's the zoning map. On the north side of Morningside, there's going to be light industrial, 7CJ. Along the south side, it's going to be mostly dwelling with also apartment. This is part of the Transition East District in our future land use plan. Land uses in the East Transition District should be approximately half residential, with the remaining uses a balance of community facilities, commercial, institutional, and industrial land uses. Here's the aerial. To the north, there is a mobile home park. To the east, single-family dwelling and commercial business. To the south, there are single-family dwelling as well as to the west. As I stated, there are commercial businesses here along Morningside mixed in with the residential. Here's a 200-foot radius map. Here is the site plan. It's hard to see. Essentially, they will be using the existing structure with parking in the rear. Here's what it looks like. It used to be used for a daycare, so it has been used as a commercial facility for a while. There were 28 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff recommends to approve the specific use permit to allow a restaurant, a light retail 2C use, an apartment H, AH, and professional office H, 1CH.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Any questions or comments?
I so move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to close public hearing. All in favor?
I so move to approve it.
I have a motion to approve
Second.
and a second from Derek. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 17, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-034, to rezone from general retail A to general retail G for a 3.281 acre tract out of block DD and a portion of an unsubdivided tract in the Brownsville Land and Improvement Company subdivision of the city of Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, located at 1904 Central Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas 78520.
This property is 3.20 acres. The current zoning is general retail A. They are requesting it to rezone the area district. The proposed use is a commercial plaza, and it's fronting on Central Boulevard. Here is the zoning map, as you can see. Along Central, Business 77, it is general retail most of the way through it. To the rear of this property in question is dwelling. It is subdivision. This is part of the West Core District in our future land use plan. The West Core District land use is predominantly residential with substantial allotments of community facilities and institutional uses. Only small portions of commercial and institutional uses are permitted. So here's the area. It is, the property in question is currently vacant. To the north, to the west, and to the south, there are commercial businesses. To the south and also to the east, there are single-family dwelling. Here's the 200-foot radius map for the public notices. Here is the property.
Next to the Pizza Hut, yeah.
There were 19 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this request to rezone from dwelling A, DA, and general retail A 4CA to general retail G 4CG to allow a commercial business or anything else that's allowed in it. We do have the owner here tonight as well as some neighbors. I did want to point out that the owner is more fluent in Spanish. He does have a representative here though as well.
That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Anybody want to come up and make a comment? The owner or whomever? Please, ma'am, if you'd like to come on.
We got general retail right now.
I don't see any problem with it.
I'm Martha Lipscomb. I live at 95 North Korea Street, so it really abuts pretty close, within, I don't know, 50 yards or something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, my concern is that what he has proposed, so he's told me verbally, I think is really nice. But if we approve this, what's to stop him from turning around and he's proposed a high-scale condo complex, kind of like, okay. Once it's approved, what's to stop him from turning around and go to low housing, or even, you know, government subsidized housing there? When will he submit his proposal, what it looks like, or what he, you know, what he has planned? That's my concern, is once he gets it, I don't want him to change it detrimental to the neighborhood.
Certainly, I understand. The answer to your question is, there is no guarantees. If it's a commercial zoning, it's a commercial zoning, period. Only way to circumvent that would be some kind of a conditional specific use, and it would have to be, I mean, not specific use, a conditional overlay that said it can only look like this, but we wouldn't be doing that in this scenario. But you're correct, and your fears are somewhat accurate, and that applies to everyone you heard before us tonight, all the way through this whole evening. Everything we've changed, the person doesn't necessarily have to put there what they gave us in this piece of paper, unless it has a specific use. And so, yes, it is a valid concern.
So we have no control once it's
That's
approved?
correct. That's
Is
right.
that it? Okay. And it's validated for whatever? Is that correct?
Anything commercial or plaza
I
related.
can give you one assurance. That property is very expensive. It would be unlikely to pay that kind of money to build low-income apartments. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Okay.
Because normally for low income, you can buy land for $2-3 a square foot, and probably, I don't know how much he's been paying over there.
Okay.
So that's the only way I think can almost guarantee you that he's not going to make any low income.
And I
Okay.
think this is more of and I'll wait for Francesca in a sec. Is this more of a density change? Because they've already got the general retail right now.
There are two things happening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
And are you opposed to this, ma'am, or are you supporting it?
I support it as long as it's constituted
As it was described to you? Yes, ma'am.
as he's done.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Go ahead, ma'am.
So there are two things happening here. This property is currently zoned dwelling and general retail A. What they're requesting is to rezone all of it to general retail G. I believe.
So you're basically, different lots are being combined into one.
They'll still have to go through the plating
Yeah,
process and
I
all that.
understand, but the idea is to get different ones and combine them into one type. Okay.
Now, this property, with the zoning, due to the annexation year, they could have apartments or they could have retail uses.
Right.
That goes for any
Sure.
property.
I understand.
Can it be a
I'd also-
mixture? Can it be a mixture?
If they wanted to have mixed use, they would have to get a specific use permit.
Okay.
So it'd be a different process.
Thank
I should also mention, this property did receive a specific use permit for a commercial plaza back in 2013.
Okay. Anybody else? Builder, if you wanted to say something?
Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am, please.
Good evening, members of the zoning board. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here representing my mom and dad. We live right smack behind them. And the aerial view is a little, is a little inconclusive. You can see it's far away, but we're right behind. As a matter of fact, I did spoke to the owner because I made the initiative to speak to him because one of his trees fell onto the fence and actually dented the fence. And the only reason I got a hold of him was because his gardener was there and I happened to be there from work. And I told him I needed him to speak to the owner, and he did graciously come and see me later in the afternoon. And he did kind of clear up the neighborhood, but I'm concerned because 2013, she corrected me, 6 years ago, there was vehement opposition because he originally said bar, restaurant, and then they clarified, no, it's not going to be here, it's going to be a restaurant within, he can be able he can be able to sell drinks or alcohol or whatever. And now he's thinking, okay, now, when I spoke to him, he didn't clarify. He didn't tell me it was going to be it's going to be apartment or a gated community, as Mr. Limscomb said. And I think, so when I spoke to him, I said, you're still going to do it in Spanish, the bar? And he goes, yes, restaurant. I said, okay. And when I spoke to her, so I'm in the conclusion that he's probably going to do both, and I understand he cannot do a board. He has to come in and get approval from you all. But I want you to just 1 second, 1 minute, put yourself You live right there, and I know it's stipulations that we can do maybe a higher fence. I know by the city, he asked to have a 6-foot fence. Okay, the only thing is, he does apartments. I lived in a apartment house, or 2-story house. You can see right smack behind. We have a pool, you put yourself with there, and I understand, it's already been approved, but there's certain stipulation, and as you, as members of the community, to help the community members. And that Ariel is doing, and I congratulate Francesca, she does a wonderful job, she explained to me before I got here, but it is very deceiving, because when you look at it, you don't see exactly that it's right behind the property. You see from the Central Boulevard, and the fence is right there, but one of the trees are actually, so my concern is if he does a gated community, which is fine, Ms. Linscomb does approve, I may approve, may not approve, but I want to make sure that maybe, and I know, maybe you're going to say it's out of our hands, but I am vehemently opposed until I understand exactly, but he can't tell us what he's going to do. And I understand you were saying, well, we can't tell him what to do, what not to do. And I understand as an owner, I would feel the same.
Right.
But at the same time, please look at what if you were there right behind him. There's
So what
a
is it
fence.
that you want?
I'm sorry?
What is it that you want?
Well, first of all, I want him to make a decision. I guess maybe I can't force him to make a decision, because he told me one thing, he told Ms. Linscomb something else. So, and I know he came with I think Mr. Bernard, and he came to see me, but at the time I couldn't speak to him because something was going on at the house, and maybe he was going to clarify. I don't know. So I'll give him that, and I know his son is here with him, but, Mr. Bernard's son. But the point is, if it is a gated community, then, I don't want I look out the window, I'm never going to be going back in the yard for my parents' house. None of us are going to be going, because, there's out the window, because, like I said, I lived in a 2-story house, and I didn't peek out the window, but you want to open the window sometimes, whatever, and you see what you see, right? I just feel like, right now, I had told him originally to clear the trees, because I can't do anything with the fence that had already toppled over, because I don't want to spend more money into it, depending on what kind of fence he's going to do, to see how much I need to cover. And so he said, well, I'm going to get into it, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So he seems he's confused as well. So my opposition is, or what I would like to have, I would not oppose it if there's certain stipulations.
What
And
type
it
of
probably could be
stipulations?
out of my hands. Well, first of all, I would like the gated community to face, what is that, north and east? What is it, north, instead of facing our backyard. But again, I don't know. And then maybe not a 6-foot, I know the city said 6 foot, right? But maybe I plan to do maybe an 8-foot, which is gonna change, right? It's an
Well, like I said,
expensive,
you can demand for a fence.
and think
but
about it, if you were in that place, your property is gonna be devalued. Our property is gonna be devalued, no matter what he puts in there. So I just want you to consider, I am opposed. You're gonna ask me, are you opposed? I am opposed.
Yes.
And I know it's been approved for certain things, but once we come again, I'm gonna have a lot of stipulations, and if necessary, whatever else I need to do, because, think about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Just for 1 second. Thank you.
We do, and we think about it a lot.
I think all it is we can ask for a fence, that's about all we can ask.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
it doesn't violate any planning or zoning.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jeremy Bernard, I'm with Coastal Realty. My dad, Mark, has been handling this with the owner, Sergio. The owner has been trying different things over the years, gone through different projects to try and see what would best fit. As you heard, in 2013, he was approved for a commercial plaza. He has had success in other areas with this gated community, a high-end apartment project. That is his goal for this area. I know they were asking for plans and stuff like that. He's not ready to spend money on engineering until he knows he can get
Right.
that stuff. So that is where he is at. Him and my father have gone and talked to most of the neighbors to try and explain, and everyone they spoke to did not have a problem with it. And so this, if you're familiar with the area, it's been vacant for many years. This would be a huge improvement to the area, and I know our client only does quality work. So that's all.
All right,
from
thank
us.
you.
Thank you.
Is there are there any plans for any type of vegetation buffer in the backside?
His goal is to maintain as much vegetation in the back as possible. He wants the residents of his apartment project to have a nice area, shaded area, to be able to walk a dog or go out and sit under a tree and stuff. So his goal is to keep that back of that project as landscaped as possible.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Motion?
I so move to close the public hearing.
Mr. Diaz makes a motion,
I'll second.
second by Frank, all in favor?
Aye.
Action. Opposed?
Staff recommends, right?
Yeah.
Staff recommends. I did talk to the owner and the representative about this previously, and they were open to some conditions. If that's something that we might be able to work out with the neighbors, you might want to consider tabling till August. But staff is recommending.
Look, to wait, you can always push it out and out forever. I mean,
No, I would agree.
I so move to approve it.
I would,
I agree. I second.
Frank seconds it. The motion from Mr. Diaz, second from Frank, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 18, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235, 2019-035, to rezone from dwelling A to dwelling G for Lot 7, Block 17, Ebony Heights subdivision, a subdivision in Cameron County, Texas, located at 1464 Yale Avenue, Brownsville, Texas, 78521.
Okay, this property is currently zoned dwelling A. They're requesting it to be rezoned to dwelling G, DG. They're located at 1464 Yale Avenue, and I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, and here's the zoning map of the area. As you can see, most of the area is dwelling A. There is a property that was rezoned fairly recently on the same street a block down to dwelling G, and there is some commercial uses along Los Ebanos. This property is within the West Core District, which is predominantly residential with substantial allotments of community facilities and institutional uses. So here is an aerial. So this property was cited for,
Setback requirement.
yes, they constructed a carport without a permit, and it's within the setbacks. Just wanted to point out that there are some existing carports in the area that are also encroaching. None of these are showing up? Okay. So in all directions, you're going to find single-family dwelling and also a public park to the south. Here is a 200-foot radius map. Here is some actual photos of the carport. It's worth noting that the carport is also encroaching on the side setbacks. This would not fix that. They have communicated with us that they will resize the carport if it approved tonight.
So by rezoning is
Cut off
not
a
gonna fix
portion.
their problem?
This will fix a lot of the
The
problems.
street access, but not the side access?
Right.
Okay.
So there were 34 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this request to rezone from dwelling A, DA, to dwelling G, DG.
Would it be appropriate for us to ensure that when we approve, if we were to approve this, that we specify that it must be resized to meet the property guidelines? Because we say, oh, it's resized, but he's go, well, see, they already resized it, and
That's,
would it be necessary to do that?
it wouldn't be necessary, as it is, they have to meet all of the requirements. We're also on the record here tonight stating that this will not fix the issue.
Okay, That's
And
fine.
they are knowledgeable of it.
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing. Anybody got any questions on this?
I so move.
Close.
Close public comment.
Mr. G's got a motion.
I'll second
Derek,
that.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Action.
I so move to approve it.
I second.
I have a motion from Mr. G and a second from Frank to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item number 19, public hearing and action on ordinance number 235-2019-601CU, an ordinance allowing a conditional use permit for a wet restaurant for lots 1 and 2, Block 49, original town site of the City of Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas, located at 354 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Texas, 78520.
This property is .2755 of an acre. It's zone medium retail, 3C. The proposed use is a wet restaurant, and it's fronting East Elizabeth. This is a current restaurant. They're looking to expand their menu and be able to serve alcohol. So this is along East Elizabeth. All of East Elizabeth in this area is third commercial. Along Levy, it's professional office, and along St. Charles and Washington, it's going to be apartment. This is part of the town corridor in our future land use plan. which is primarily residential with small clusters of commercial land uses at regularly spaced intervals. So here's an aerial. There is single-family dwelling, a professional office, and personal service outlet to the north. To the east, there's single-family dwelling, civic institution, and professional office. To the south, single-family dwelling, civic institution, and commercial business. And to the west, single-family dwelling and civic institution. So here's the restaurant. Picture's a little old. So here's the 200-foot radius map. There were 28 mailouts and 0 written opposition, and staff supports this conditional use permit to allow on-premise sale of alcohol, a wet restaurant, and medium retail A, 3CA.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's a public hearing. Any questions or comments?
I so move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Mr. G, a second from Frank. All in favor?
Aye.
I so
Motion
move
to approve.
it.
Yeah, that's right. Director Banks, a motion to approve. Mr. G, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 20, public hearing and action on Triple H Ranch to appeal the plat administrator's denial of Triple H Ranch.
Okay. This is a petition to appeal a denial. The lot in question is a replat of 7.055 acres, being all of Lot 5, Block 1, JG subdivision. So final plat process for minor subdivisions is the owner or engineer submits the application, documentation, and plat. Staff and involved entities review the submittal. If approved, the plat administrator, myself, can sign it, and we can get it recorded. If denied, the plat administrator issues a denial letter, and all binding decisions made by the plat administrator may be appealed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It was denied based on Article 4 standards. Section 332-166 General Standards, A to B, states that in no case shall any parcel's average length be more than 4 times greater than such parcel's average width, as calculated by the city engineer for such parcel's net area. This means that the maximum lot width to depth ratio prevents the creation of long and narrow lots and the crowding of buildings along access roads while leaving the land behind buildings vacant and unserviceable. That's the intent of this. So just a little example, we have the width and the length. So if this was 100 feet, this could be 400 feet. Here's the property in question. The existing lot, and it is a platted lot, has a width of 160 feet and a depth of 1,920.87 feet. Its width to depth ratio is 1 to 12. They're proposing to replat it into 3 lots. 1, 2, and 3. The first lot, which is 5A, is proposed to be 100 feet by 480, which will have a ratio of 1 to 4.8. The second will be 130 width by 650 feet long, so 1 to 5. And the third is 160 by 772.39 feet for a ratio of 1 to 4.8. Okay, there's all of them together. So it was denied based on this.
Well, why can't they make 4 lots? Or
That's right.
5
I was
lots?
just going to say the same
They
thing.
can.
So we also have other requirements for frontage. So in this case, we require 100 feet of width on a lot on a rural street. And this is on FM 1732. This is inside the ETJ. It's not within city limits. And what they're proposing is to add right here a 20-foot access easement. So they will only have one entrance onto the road right here, where I believe their existing home is right here. And they will have to travel across here and all the way up to here. Now, the owner is here tonight, as well as his family, to talk about this.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, you finished? I don't want to open the public
If
hearing.
you have any questions.
No, that's fine. Please step forward, sir.
Let me try to erase it.
Francesca, how many driveways are we looking at on the frontage road?
1.
Go ahead, please, and state your name, please.
My name is Fred Huerta. This is my property. Bought it 20 years ago with the intention of building our home and having my sons, I have 2, build their homes on the same property. My oldest son is ready to build his house, so we were going to cut out 1 acre and let him build on that 1 acre lot. I didn't know, since we were in a county, that we needed to come to Brownsville until I found out that we're in the ETJ, and that's why I'm here. I ask that you allow us to continue so that we can get his home built, and I would appreciate anything you can do to help us.
All right, sir.
We are in the county. I still have to go to the county.
No, I understand. Go ahead.
At 100 and I'm just talking to Francis, I'm just, at 160 feet, that's what, 440 maximum width?
More or less.
Divided by 1920, 440.
It's almost
So you
right
can
at
go
4.
Well, you can fit about four lots on there, but he's gonna be over on some of them, right?
Yes, so we also have to consider the frontage.
Frontages.
So they can only have 1 access. This is a TxDOT road, that's all TxDOT with Grantham as well.
Okay.
And they're required to have 100 feet, in order to meet an exception in the subdivision ordinance, they're required to have 1 lot that meets the 100 feet requirement, and then they can have these smaller flag lots. So they wouldn't be able to fit another lot in there without violating that section of the ordinance. So I'd also say that staff has discussed this, and we don't have an issue with this being overturned.
And I was fixing to say, since this was a county property before, and it was approved this way decades ago, probably by someone, then, all right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Francisco, anything else?
Motion to close public?
Second.
A motion and a second to close public hearing.
Aye.
Aye.
Go ahead, sorry.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve.
Second.
To overturn.
Well, motion to overturn the denial
Wait, then
and grant them permission to,
No, then let's talk about it.
all right.
Whatever the recommendation may be, can we please also include language that they do have to comply with all other requirements of the
Yeah,
subdivision
but
ordinance?
let's
Sure.
first, let's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. G, what do you got?
Well, like I say, I hate to deny it. I mean, the man bought it
Yeah.
years ago, and he's got 2 children, and he
Yep.
wants to make a slot for him, and I would go out of my way to try to work out something where he can use those slots for his children.
Sure. That's what I was gonna do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's approving.
So you'll second.
He's saying override the Francesca's
Now,
denial.
The
Yeah,
question is
'cause-
what do we approve?
We're approving,
As it's presented,
The
Well-
appeal, we approve the appeal.
You're approving the appeal.
that's
yes,
correct.
approve the appeal. Well, why don't you go ahead and word it, Frank? since you're
Okay, we
professional.
Let the lawyer
approve the
talk.
appeal subject to them meeting all other requirements as required by the city ordinances.
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect.
And Mr. G?
Are you going to second that?
I'll second it.
Yep.
All right. Mr. Frank makes a motion, Mr. G seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Defer.
Item number 21 has been removed from the agenda.
Okay.
Going to item number 22, public hearing and action on D-19-015-G to appeal the denial of a determination certificate for the east half of a certain 1-acre tract of land out of Lot 1, Block S, Brownsville Land and Improvement Company subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located near the corner of Honeydale Road and Boca Chica Boulevard, Brownsville, Texas 78520.
So this determination certificate was denied. They are asking to overturn the denial again, similar to the last case. So the determination certificate process is the owner submits the application, staff reviews it. If approved, the plat administrator can issue the certificate. If denied, they would issue a denial letter. And again, all binding decisions made by the plat administrator may be appealed here to Planning and Zoning Commission. So The Texas Local Government Code 212.0115 and Section 332-228, titled Survey Map, authorizes this action. So this property did apply for the grandfather exception, which has these requirements: that the boundaries of the parcel need to be fully described by one or more title transfer instruments executed before September 1st of 1995. On or after such date, there have been no executions of title transfer instruments such that the instruments could subject such parcel to boundary alterations. And they must meet certain frontage standards and submit a complete application. This basically means you can sell the land after 1995, but you can't change the configuration. You can't sell off a portion or add a portion. So here's the property we're talking about. It's 25 Boca Chica. It might look familiar. It has specific use permits issued pretty recently. So it was denied because in the meets and bounds description of the property, there was an error. This error was in the previous deed and the deed before that back into the 60s. So because there is that error, we couldn't approve it. However, if the meets and bounds were correct, it would qualify in all other ways.
What was the error? Is it a lot
decimal
line,
point
or
or
is
something?
it directional?
Yeah, it was just a poor description in the meets and bounds.
Is this where they're gonna put up the
Wet water mill.
The duplex.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, the duplex. They're gonna add a duplex here and, oops, a duplex here and a duplex here and cut down part of this and things like that. I'll also add that staff has discussed this and we don't have an issue with this being overturned as well.
Does anybody here want to discuss it?
We do have the owner.
Yes,
right
ma'am,
here.
please. Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Imelda Plata, and this is my father, Homero Plata. And that's what we're trying to do with the duplexes. Now, we also submitted a letter from the person who
Right.
And he looked over everything, and he went back through all the different deeds that she described, and he clarified Mr. Guy Huddleston, and he said that everything was correct.
Okay.
So we were kind of taken aback when this was denied. And he went out of his way to try and help us with all of this. So what we're asking tonight is if you can approve it so that we can build it, because I think this is the only thing that was wrong here.
I guess basically, Francesca, if we were to move forward with this, as you said before, and overturn the decision, would we be able to put the provision in that it be clarified in such a means that it's recorded properly? Because they're saying that this attorney, or this
But
deed.
the title company, they're not equipped to fix the issue.
That's correct.
that
I
they're
understand that.
having.
Right.
I understand that, and Guy Huddleston he's experienced with reading those, and we also went to the person who actually did the description of everything. You know, when we drew it out,
Yeah, yeah.
Mrs. Corona.
Yeah, and he uses a deed description from the previous deed. That's how they cover the butts.
And that's why you haven't
Never
Well, yeah,
doing
but see,
anything
that's
new.
why Guy went back,
Yeah.
because he says,
Yeah,
we
but
worked with Corona
like I said,
before.
I have nothing against it. But if you ever want to sell that land, you
Right.
better
You need
be
to clear it
sure.
up.
That's what we're finding out.
Yes,
which
you need
we
to
did
clear it
not
up.
know.
Yes.
So
All right.
that's where we're,
Yeah.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
thank you.
Anything else?
¿Algo más que quieres añadir? ¿Algo más que quieres añadir?
All right.
No entiendo inglés.
Yeah, no, está bien.
Ok, le estoy diciendo que básicamente todo lo que ella describió, esas son las faltas que encontraron. Entonces le estoy diciendo que fuimos con el del deed, ¿verdad? Y él fue atrás las previas y las checó y dijo que estaban bien, que tiene experiencia leyendo ese tipo de cosas, que fuimos con Corona, que también checamos eso. Entonces les estamos pidiendo que ellos, como quiera, nos den el permiso, siendo que hay esta discrepancia. Pero algo más, no sé qué quieres añadir.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate your
Okay,
input.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, motion to close public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Action. That's
I
it.
will, I don't want to add the condition that they have to fix it. I will motion to approve it because fixing it, just go to this title company because they already agreed that they'll insure over it, basically. So I will just motion to approve the appeal.
Appeal. Okay.
Yep.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second from Derek. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Yes,
Before
ma'am?
you close the hearing,
Yes.
I mean, excuse me,
Yes.
the meeting. Oh,
And it says here, if there's any changes to the proposed all that number.
What happened to 22?
Happens is you have people that are
No, wait,
innocent.
that was 22. We just did. They skipped 21.
You see, there are
Oh, we
people
skipped
that's
21.
innocent people, and then they're taking advantage of, and now, but now what the hell can you do about it?
What do we got after this? What do we got after this?
All right. What were you going to say, Francisca?
I'm sorry. Okay, so as a reminder, two things. We do have a workshop for planning commissioners, elected official, and staff. It's open for anybody. Staff will be paying for any P and Z commissioner or plus other commissions that would like to attend. We're highly encouraging everybody to attend. Maybe we can arrange some group transportation or something like that. Just let me know as soon as you can, and we'll make sure to register you.
When is
It's a good program. I'm telling you.
When
I've
is
been
it?
to
It's
Where
going to
is
be
that?
July the 26th, and it's
But
in
where is it gonna
Edinburgh.
be?
Not a time.
Edinburgh,
Edinburgh.
Is that the one where we had last time? Right? They've done it before?
yes,
I think I saw Mirna there.
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, yeah.
Item 22, can I address that? Investment board.
22, that was the last one. 21 was taken off the agenda, and 22 was the last one we discussed.
And how are we going to correct the legal description? Are we not?
Well,
They're gonna
but
have to
They're leaving
correct
it up to
in
the
a
title
separate
company
document.
to fix the problem.
The title company's
They
gonna
license it, they
insure it.
swear to it, so
yeah, I
let
mean,
them do it.
Official that fact, we got to correct the legal description, otherwise.
Right,
We're going to have a problem in the future.
correct.
With the intention.
So the attorney is saying that they do need to have a corrected description in our public records. That's what our city attorney is telling us.
Is that something that we would do here?
No, it would just be that they would
Right.
have to, a
Oh,
condition
yeah.
that they would do it.
And they've
Yeah.
already sought out a title company to help resolve that issue, so.
they need an engineer to resolve.
Absolutely
They need
right.
an
Yeah.
engineer.
But they need an engineer, but
But
not
they've already
Corona,
got-
but not Corona.
They've got Corona that they've already hired
Yes.
before,
Before,
so,
So it should be
Yeah.
resolved shortly.
yes.
and I think they grasp how hard it's gonna be on
fix
that
that
second round of them trying to sell the property. Yeah.
And we probably have a better job playing with every possession.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
all right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Then the last thing we have today,
Good evening, Commission. I'm so glad to see that you'll be attending the Planning 101 course. I think it's great. Plus, there's been a lot of changes in the legislative session, and so that affected annexation and, in cities across Texas. So it's important to be updated with regard to those legislative changes that have now made us change many of our codes and will lead to more code changes. And so we'll state that why. An example was our recent fees, that we can't base it on valuation anymore. It has to be square footage, and that's why we had to do an emergency measure that many of our surrounding communities didn't even know about. We actually asked them, how are you addressing it? They're like, well, we didn't even know. Thank you for letting us know. Now we'll address it. And also, I wanted to introduce you, Don Warwick. Don is our interim Planning and Redevelopment Department Director. We're going to, as you know, going through looking at our codes, looking at permitting processes, probably wanting to be streamlined and innovate some of those processes now. And so I just wanted to, she has 23 years of experience, has assisted with planning departments, building departments, and economic development through Arkansas, Kentucky, and most recently Tulsa, Alabama. So, Tulsa, Oklahoma, sorry. And then, so anyway, I just wanted to introduce you to her because you'll be seeing her a lot, and welcome her. And we're really excited with you all and everything that we're going to do as a city as we look at our codes in downtown and also, outside of downtown area. So if you want to just tell us a little about yourself.
Thank you, Helen. Pleasure to meet you all. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and help the department work through this transition. It seems like a very exciting time to be in Brownsville, and I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be here. Friesen Nichols has been engaged to help with various planning activities, and so this is my part of the assignment for right now. I know this is very new to the staff and to you, and hope through the next several weeks we get an opportunity to have some conversations, understand what your goals are for the Planning Commission, if you have questions or concerns. I'm working on lists and trying to really get a handle on how things are operating and, just look at best practices and help guide people through streamlining processes and making sure that the department's in the best position possible for a new planning director to walk in the next few months. So like I said, I'm excited to be here and appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Welcome, Ms. Dawn.
Thank
Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Anything else, Francesca?
I'd love to be able to attend that workshop. Unfortunately, I've got a prior engagement that day, and so I will not be able to attend. I've been trying to attend for the last
2 years at least.
however long I've been here, but it seems like, summertime is extremely hard with kids out of school and travel baseball with the kids and that kind of stuff, and so.
Well, we'll bring you a copy of the slides at the very least.
Yeah.
I would love to. I would love to read up on what you guys go over there, because it sounds like it's something I've been wanting to attend for
A long
years.
time.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Adjourn.